Hi guys, good evening. I'm gonna try this again because I keep going on a really long rant. I'm gonna try to wrap this up in less than 10 minutes, so let's get this thing done. I'm trying to do a quick video because tomorrow I'm getting my teeth pulled out and I want to try to get one more video up. So this is something that has been kind of weighing on my conscience. This is the reason why I have so many typos for my betas. My conscience for a long time. And I cannot speak for other people, obviously, because everybody's allowed to have their own opinion, but also because I don't fall into every particular demographic here. But I do want to speak for myself personally as a female, because a lot of writers seem to have trouble writing female characters, and it's hard writing female characters. Even as a female, I struggle with this because I guess I have certain stereotypes that I give other females just from my experiences with them. As a relatively more masculine female, I tend to have an opinion that most other females are more interested in makeup and fashion and all that jazz, and I'm just like, I don't get along with you guys. But I tend to kind of lump them together, even though we are both females. We both fall into that category, even though we have our own different tastes and likes and dislikes. But I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of pet peeves that I have on that particular subject. It's a very small aspect of diversity in fiction, but I just wanted to kind of give my 2 cents worth on this topic, and give you a couple things to think about maybe with writing a female, and also to understand that not all of us think that you need to do these things in order to represent us properly. All right, so the first pet peeve, I've been drinking way too much tonight. The first pet peeve I want to talk about is the unwillingness to kill female characters. Now, this is gonna sound weird because I'm sure you've seen plenty of videos or other things. Sorry, my dog is like going on a trip. Hi Vader, what you doing, Doodle? Yeah, okay. But you've probably seen plenty of videos that say like, don't kill off your representation, ha! And you're a horrible person if you do that. But I'm going to point out something in particular. Now, I'm not going to speak for other protective classes, different races, ethnicities, sexual orientations, disabilities, sensitivities, whatever. I'm not going to speak for them, but I'm just going to say that for myself, I find this a little bit irritating, and I'm going to reference a particular thing that I see a lot in either movies or books, is that they don't want to kill off female characters, even though it's really obvious in certain parts that that character needs to die. It would be better for the story. It would be incredibly impactful. It would give your characters the rest of the motivation. Now, I get if this is like your only female, like being hesitant there, because it's like, do I really want to kill the only female in case some of my audience are females and that's the person they're like clinging to the story for? I get that hesitation, but I hate that they won't let females die, that it would be better for the story if they did. And it seems just, in certain situations, it seems really obvious that they're doing it just to be PC. Sorry, I'm like petting my dog because he's over here begging for pets. But, what are you doing, Vader dog? Yeah, ear scratches? Okay. Oh, yes, ear scratches. But, sorry. I'm going to try this video so many times. I'm trying to try to wrap this up because, oh my gosh, I've already wasted like 2.5 minutes. But anyway, I find this a little bit annoying, and it comes down to a particular pet peeve of mine where certain activist groups say they're out for equality, but what they're really out is for pandering. I think that when you're not willing to kill off female characters in certain situations, and I'm reading them or watching them on a movie or a TV show, that you're taking away from my fantasy that females can be heroes, and heroes that are willing to sacrifice everything for what they believe in. And if you're not willing to kill us off, you're taking that right away from us. It's if we watch G.I. Jane, for example, the movie G.I. Jane, if you watch that movie knowing that they were not willing to kill G.I. Jane off in certain parts because she was a female, it would ruin the movie. You got to know that there's some sort of element of, it is possible that she will die just like these other guys that are with her, because that's the point, is that she is, even though the people around her who are doing this for PC reasons are all like, oh look, we got a girl in the SEALs, she's like, guys, that's not what it's about. This is because I want to be able to do this. I want to have the right to be able to fight in this capacity and actually do this, and I'm willing to die for this cause that I believe in. Don't take that away from me. And I find that really irritating when in stories you're unwilling to let females die for a cause that they believe in because they're females and you're scared of getting backlash. So just keep that in mind, maybe as an aspect, as a thought from a female. You're welcome to cite this if anybody gives you backlash. Be like, I heard it from C.S. Wells, China Sky Wells, that she hates it when females don't have the right to die for a cause that they believe in because you're trying to be PC. That's annoying for me. Now, obviously, we could talk about the opposite end of the spectrum, but it's been talked about a lot that obviously don't just kill off your female characters willy-nilly for no real plot relevant reason. But if it's plot relevant and it has to happen, and you're not just being lazy, you're not just doing the, oh, well, of course the guy's motivation is to do this because his wife was murdered. Like, it's just, that just falls into the realm of cliche. It's not really an issue of, I don't see that as an issue of, like, being offended so much as I'm just annoyed because it's cliche. I don't personally get offended by that, although anybody else is willing to be offended by it, or is able to. It's none of my freaking business. But that's just my opinion on that topic. Next thing that I want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it in a second because I gotta let my dog out. He's like whining at me. The next thing, the second thing that tends to be a little bit of a pet peeve on this topic, just from my perspective as watching other female characters, kind of ties into the first thing, which is authors and or movie writers, screenplay writers, directors, I don't know what they're called, but people who write the story, their unwillingness to, if they do kill off a female character, they tend to do it less brutally or a little bit more fade to black type stuff, a little bit more Lady Macbeth. Let's call it that. The Lady Macbeth people, or women, where if they die, they either die off screen or they don't die as brutally as they're willing to kill the men, which again comes down to my particular preference towards equality. I'm not a feminist because I'm a writer and I love words, and feminist itself as a word is clearly lopsided in one way. I'm an egalitarian. I think equal rights, responsibility, and liability should be for all. And the problem is that I think with this particular aspect of storytelling, with the unwillingness to kill women in the same way that you would kill men in the stories, I totally get it. I know you get a frick ton of backlash for this kind of stuff if you do it, but I encourage you, for the sake of equality, to be willing to kill our characters off in the same ways that you would kill guys. We could get into a whole nother topic as far as sexual violence is concerned in storytelling, but I don't want to on this because I want to be able to sleep tonight. But anyway, we're gonna get into this topic. So I'm gonna cite my source real quick here. So this is a movie I love. I love this movie. I don't in any way want to throw any shade at this movie because I really, really enjoyed it. But Black Panther. Yeah, so I've already got some of you raging. But Black Panther. Black Panther did a fantastic job on so many things. But there was one scene in particular that while I was watching it, I was like, you just did this to be able to keep it at a certain rating, I can tell. Because for some reason, it's considered more violent to do the same thing to women that you're willing to do to men. So when the main character, the Black Panther guy, anyway, I'm just imagining him in this scene. Anyway, when he gets all beat up by the bad guy, I mean, like, they have their whole, like, conclave thing, and he's getting sliced up to hell. They're showing blood and guts and gore and stuff. They're not afraid of that when it's the guy getting all sliced up. But there's just one scene towards the end that bugged the crap out of me. Even the first time I watched it, I'm just like, is there like a limit on blood we can do for certain ratings or something that I don't know about? Because the bad guy gets a hold of this one female Wakandan warrior woman, who of course is a badass. Like, I love them. I actually like modeled my main character on my book like after them because I just thought they were so cool. Like, oh, I'm just like, ah. Anyway, but he gets a hold of her and he has like a knife and he like slits her throat and like throws her to the side. They don't show any blood. Like, they do it in a way where they don't show anything. And it's really obvious that they were intentionally trying to not show anything because it would be either too traumatizing or something to the audience, which again can bring us back to G.I. Jane, where they point out that the reason why women aren't typically allowed in battle type situations is because it's too damn traumatizing to people who hear about the deaths. And I think that's anti-equality, personally. I think that if you are for equality, you should be for not only equal rights, but equal responsibility, liability, and everything that's involved. And if you aren't, you're not really for equality. Now, we could get into my preferences as far as doors being held for me. I just think that's just a normal courtesy. I hold doors for people all the time, regardless of their gender. I don't care if you hold the door for me. Like, I'm not gonna take it as you think I'm weak. I'm gonna be like, oh, thank you, that's so thoughtful of you. But anyway, I just think that this is a reflection on the fact that you're still treating women like they're not capable of doing the same things, or you're portraying in the minds of people kind of on a weird, very low level that it is worse for a female to die than it is for a man to die. And I don't think that's true. I think it's equal. And some people will cite sources as to historical where it's like, oh, but the men always went off to fight because women can have babies. It's like, yeah, you know what? We can't freaking have babies without you guys involved too. It's not just if you guys all disappeared off the planet, we'd be like, oops, I guess we're out of sperm. We're just gonna like start making them on our own. You're equally involved here. But anyway, that was a super rambly thing, and I'm gonna like blame this on the fact that I'm like way drunk. I've had like 5 beers and 2 cocktails, so we're gonna blame it on that. But anyway, I'm gonna talk about the third thing here in a second, but I gotta gather my thoughts for a second. Let's start over because this is going a little nuts. Okay, I need to like have a little bit more drunk because I can't do this anymore. I've done so many takes and I keep saying stuff, and which is, by the way, like contradictory to my opinion on this. I'm like, don't worry about being PC, but I keep saying stuff where I'm like, oh dear God, like that's so bad. Don't, like, that's not that it's like objectively bad, but just that it would be taken badly. But anyway, my third pet peeve as a female watching other female characters being portrayed is that there's a tendency to be afraid of portraying female characters with any actual character flaws. And I'm going to open a little bit of a can of worms here because I want to reference specifically Rey from the new Star Wars sequel trilogy. I was really, really worried when I heard them announce that the new main character of this sequel trilogy was going to be a female, because I've seen how Disney portrays females and they tend to be scared to death of giving them any sort of realistic character flaws or portraying them like real females actually are. They just... Anyway, I was just worried they were going to pull more of a Ghostbusters, the female edition, versus Wonder Woman. Like, Wonder Woman, I thought, did it really, really well. I didn't get any of those icky, oh, you're just pandering, you're just trying to be PC feelings. I was like, I actually identify with this character. Thank you. She's a little bit more masculine. She's not going through the whole movie being like, well, you're just doing that because you're a man, or, well, I'm going to do this because I want to show that I'm a female and I can be strong. It's like, no, she's just herself. Like, she doesn't think about this shit. And that's what normal females are like, is, or at least that's how I am like. I can't really speak for other people. But I don't really think, oh, I'm going to do my job better than everybody else on my team because I'm a female and I want to show that females can do this as good as guys. I think I want to be better than everybody else on my team because I want to look like a badass. Not because I'm a female, but just because I want to feel like I did my job really well. And that's part of the reason why I've been told multiple times that I'm one of the most valuable people on my team at work, which is a source of pride for me. But if I got to that position because I was a female, I would be freaking annoyed. And if I found that out, I would quit. Like, I would literally drop the job immediately. I would be pissed because that is some affirmative action bullshit. And I like to believe that my job is a meritocracy where I actually got in because I'm the best person for the job. And that is insulting if you just keep me in the job or hired me because I'm a female and you're just doing that because you gotta meet a quota. Anyway, that was a rant on the side. But anyway, let's get back to Rey because that was the point of this section. Anyway, I was really worried that Rey was going to be a pandering PC, just there to be a female main character. And I was so pleasantly surprised when I saw her in The Force Awakens. I really liked her. I know that some people complained that she was a bit of a Mary Sue because of certain scenes, particularly the one where she uses kind of the force power to control the one stormtrooper in her cell. But I didn't have a problem with that scene. I viewed it as she's experimenting with stuff that she's just starting to realize that she has the ability to do. And it would have bothered me. This is the difference between Force Awakens and Last Jedi. Force Awakens, she tried it 3 times. They followed the rule of 3. JJ followed the rule of 3. She says the whole, you will unlock my bonds and like leave the door open, or whatever line it is. And he kind of turns and like ignores her, and then she says it again, and he comes over and he's like, I'll tighten your bonds, fuck you, type thing. And then she says it a 3rd time and she like kind of slips into the zone, and it's great. And that's when she gets it. There was some trial and error there. And that's why I believe that she wasn't, as some people accuse her of being, an OP Mary Sue. That was my problem with The Last Jedi. She got almost everything on the first try. And that's what irritated me. It was almost as if they were trying, like, it was really obvious that they were pandering. They're like, oh, she's a female character? Well, clearly she's better than Luke, your beloved character from the previous series, because he's a man. Fuck men. Because she's a girl, she's gotta be way better. Because you know what, we haven't had a force-sensitive female in a while, like since Ahsoka. We're forgetting Ahsoka, who is like the most awesome character ever. I love Ahsoka. But I just really like Clone Wars. Like, that was my stipulation to my hubby, because he's been nagging me to get my wisdom teeth pulled forever, and I've been nagging him forever to watch all the Clone Wars episodes, because I told him he's not a Star Wars fan unless he does. And I finally told him, I'm like, if I get my wisdom teeth pulled, you have to binge watch Clone Wars while I'm recovering with me, and he agreed. So, God, I'm so off track. I apologize. But anyway, that was my main complaint. And that was my main difference that I noticed between the representation between Rey in Force Awakens versus Rey in Last Jedi, which made Rey unlikable in Last Jedi, is that she didn't seem flawed. Everything came too easy to her, which is something I don't identify with. It felt like I was being expected by the people who made the movie to identify with her simply because she was a female, like I am. And I don't identify with people just because they're a female. I identify with them when they portray genuine human characteristics. If we're gonna complain that we can't identify with certain characters because they aren't our gender, or they don't have the same hair color as us, or the same skin color as us, this is just my opinion. If you can't identify with these, you're welcome to believe whatever the hell you want. But in that argument, then none of us should be able to identify with Marlin from Finding Nemo, because none of us are fish. None of us should be able to identify with Nala from Lion King, or Simba from Lion King, because none of us are lions. We don't identify with them because of what skin they're in, or what body parts they have, or any of that stuff. We identify with them because they have the same genuine internal and external struggles that we can all relate to. And I think that that's what characters should be more about. And this is where I just get upset with the representation of throwing female characters in when just for the sake of throwing female characters in. Or by all means, have as many female characters as you want, but represent them as realistic human beings. Don't make them either emotionless, badass people who just aren't humans. I mean, do that occasionally, fine, go for it. But it's become an overly done trope, and I don't identify with that, and I don't appreciate being held to that standard either, because I can't meet up to that, for sure. But it's just, I don't think, I just think we put too much weight recently in a lot of things. This is a very long video, and I apologize. We put too much weight into whether or not a character fits into the demographic that we identify with, as to what body we're in. And I don't think that matters as much, especially since we're dealing with fiction a lot of the time. Because as I mentioned, we identify with characters all the time that aren't anything we could identify with. We identify with Wilbur in Charlotte's Web. We identify with Charlotte in Charlotte's Web, who's a spider, which is traditionally treated as a very not pleasant type of thing, but I dare you to not cry in Charlotte's Web when she dies. And that's because we can identify with her because she has traits in common with us and characteristics that we find worthy of empathizing with, regardless of the fact that she is not human, she is not a female. Well, I mean, I guess she's female, but she's not a human female. She's not really portrayed as a particular ethnicity, as far as I can tell, or anything like that. She's a spider. Wilbur is a pig. Marlin is a fish. And we can still identify with these characters, regardless of the fact that we don't live in the same bodies as them. We just have certain just experiences in common with them, or things that they are dealing with that we view as worthy of our attention and worthy of our empathy and our love. So that's just what I wanted to bring up, and that's really the point of all this. I know I went on quite a big rant throughout this, and I apologize. And I'm not going to clean it up in editing. I'm just going to kind of throw this together, and I apologize because I'm getting my wisdom teeth yanked tomorrow, and I'm going to blame this on the fact that I've had too many of these. But that's it. I hope that this has I acted as something to get you thinking. I'm sorry this is such a long video, but it's been weighing on my heart for a really long time. It's been irritating me for a really long time, and I just mainly want to tell people who are maybe hesitant to do these kind of things with female characters because they're females, that not all females are against you doing this. In fact, some of us would prefer that you didn't. You just treated us like people, like anybody else. And that you were willing to do with the female characters exactly what you were willing to do to any male character, because that's what equality actually is. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up and let you go because this is way too freaking long, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.